So what went wrong, guys? What the actual hell went wrong? I wasn't planning on doing a video today. Like, I literally wasn't planning. I'm a little bit sick. But after watching what happened in the last, 10 minutes, we just need to talk about it. What's going on, guys? ¿Cómo están? BugaLuis here. Welcome back to another video here on the channel. Today we're here to discuss the game between Celta Vigo and Barcelona 2-2. It's an unfortunate set of events. I would kind of summarize it like that. It's not the match that we wanted to see. Certainly, a lot of things went wrong, and there were plenty of mistakes. And I want to know what for you guys actually went wrong in this game. Because I think we can put out certain, responsibilities here and there. Certain people can be found guilty. But overall, is this a team effort? Overall, is this a team collapse? Is this a problem with an individual player? Well, we have to discuss that, and we have to find out. So Barcelona were playing really well, I would say, overall throughout the first half. Not really well, but they were surviving. They were hanging out there. And I think it's a different contrast to what we were seeing previously, particularly because of two main reasons. Iñaki Peña was certainly our best player of the game. That's 100% true. That's a fact. He saved Barcelona multiple times, and Barcelona didn't dominate. They haven't been able to dominate games since, Real Sociedad, Celta Vigo. These two grounds that normally are very difficult for Barcelona, Anoeta and Balaidos. Well, they didn't manage to maintain the rhythm, the consistency, the sort of presence that they managed to get throughout 90 minutes with the entire squad. Some of you can associate that to maybe having the players a little bit tired, play many games in Nations League or throughout the international break. And also because we're approaching a stage in the season where there's a lot of matches. So a little bit of fatigue could certainly come in handy. But I think there are certainly other things that we're going to need to discuss, particularly for this game that went wrong. But let's open up right now but just discussing the lineups, because I think the lineups is always a good place to start. So here on screen right now, you're going to be seeing what both these teams line up with. So for Celta Vigo, we got Vicente, Guaita, Javi Rodriguez, Carl Starfelt, Marcos Alonso, which, Marcos Alonso was always, I think, a solid, decent player. I would say around, the 4, 5, 6, maybe some game 7 mark out of 10. But here, he played a good game. I think he really was a headache for Barcelona. Oscar Mingueza, which is a player that I've said plenty of times that Barcelona should get back, certainly, to rotate Jules Koundé. I think he would be a very good option. Then they play with Hugo Alvarez, Fran Beltran, Ilaix Moriba, ex-Barcelona as well, Jonathan Bamba, and then Dubicas with Iago Aspas up top as the two center forwards. Was Barcelona played with Iñaki Peña, which once again I said was the man of our match. We had Pau Cubarsí, Íñigo Martínez as the two center backs, Jules Koundé on the right, Gerard Martin on the left, which is he's such a bad player, dude. That's just the way that it is. I'm sorry if you're watching this, Gerard, but maybe football is not your thing. So maybe you must start thinking about a new career path out there. Marc Casado, Pedri as well in the double pivot, which actually is quite not the real case. Gavi was playing more of the double pivot, and then we got Dani Olmo on the left, Rafinha on the natural right-hand side, and then Robert Lewandowski. I want to start with the main good things because I think there are just 3 of them for this game. And that's mainly our attack. I think that no matter Barcelona what they do, they manage to still be a very difficult team to defend. And particularly in games like this, we've seen that not even having a good rhythm, a good consistency, or a good presence in the game, we still manage to sort of find those breakaways, break away from the other team, break away from the defense, and have something in the counterattack. Rafinha is always going to get that chance, and it seems that everything he touches, he turns into absolute gold. He has the hand of Midas at this touch. Because look at this. Here a video of the goal for Rafinha. Everything he touches turns to gold. Everything he touches turns to gold. And like I was saying, if you look at this picture, 2 seasons ago, Rafinha ain't scoring that. And I think that that's simply a good understanding, continues his world-class season, kind of like ESPN is saying here. But it's good to see. I'm happy that Rafinha maintains this level, because that's always good news. You want your players to maintain the level that they have, and that's certainly Rafinha, what he's doing. The other second thing I would say is one of the positives is Robert Lewandowski, the same thing, scoring yet another goal. I think that combination is still working very, very nicely. So I'm going to keep that as one of the main things to talk about. And of course, we have to mention the return of Gavi. I think that Gavi in this game starting is certainly very good news. We always want to see this sort of poster boy. I know it's now Lamine Yamal. Before it was Gavi, in my opinion. He's always this little pit bull, this terrier, and I just love that he continues being such a presence for Barcelona. He played 75 minutes in this game. You can see it on screen right now. I'm actually going to pull out yet another player so you're able to see both of them at the same time. So on the left, you have Rafinha actually on Gavi there. So we see Gavi, 75 minutes played for Gavi. We have goals and assists, 0 in this game. 70 touches. He was completely all over the field. I think the passes Of course, still a little bit better. He could be improving quite a bit in that area, but he's back to his normal self. Look at the ground duels. 8 ground duels, 5 of them won. He's up there constantly with trying to be the guy, stopping the play and making Celta Vigo look a little bit. He was the only reason, the only sort of blockade that sort of they found in this game, along with Casado, until the red card and, of course, those 2 goals that came afterwards. So I think that Gavi still is very good. And I want to ask you the question, guys. Do you think that Gavi now should continue to start? Do you think this performance warranties basically a start? Now that Casado is not going to be playing, would you play Gavi, Frankie de Jong, Gavi, Pedri, Dani Olmo? What would your midfield formation be for the next game in the Champions League? So let me know. But now, of course, we have to look into what went wrong with this team. What happened in this game? Because like I've been saying, I think that our team played good, particularly, well, not play good, play decently, still managed to be 1-0 up. And I still, whenever you are above in the scoreline, I think it's good. So that's the way that I see football. I think it's good. You could be playing bad, but if you're winning, that is good. So Barcelona is out there, it's playing good, it's surviving. Why haven't they been able to put their stamp on the field? The very first thing I believe it's fatigue. I think fatigue played a very big part in this game. I think that particularly a lot of the players that we have, Rafinha, Robert Lewandowski, Dani Olmo, Marc Casado, Pedri, Cubarsí, we're talking about all of those players and Jules Koundé being out there playing in the Nations League, in the international break. And that is always going to be adding extra minutes that we do not need on these players. And maybe that, cost them a little bit for this game. It's not an excuse, but it's what happened. Particularly for such a physical and demanding tactics that Hansi Flick wants to employ, I think that is a problem. So that's the main thing. That's the reason why I believe Barcelona didn't manage to put their stamp into it, and after the first goal, have 1, 2, 3, 4 more chances to be able to square the game and just completely finish it off. I think that's why they weren't able to capitalize on what was overall a acceptable sort of decent, a little bit above average first half, because we've been able to win games playing worse than this in this first half before. So I wouldn't really say it was all down to that. Now, what happened after? What happened after is, I believe, after the goal from Lewandowski, we put our foot off the gas a little bit. We sort of reduced the engines, the motions. We started to go just basically circulate the ball, touching around to start waiting for the mistake from Celta Vigo, which is okay. But that's when you are going to be losing and getting a lot of lack of concentration. Jules Koundé made a terrible mistake, and he's still a player that I very much like. But after that mistake, his head looked gone. Koundé looks like a Mia guy that, I don't know, if he was he's very emotional. That is the way that I would say it. He looks someone very emotional when he's really in it, when he's consistent, when he's really believing in himself and trusting that he can be the best and he really shows and is that world-class right back and the best in the world. But as soon as he makes a mistake like this, he's out for the game. He was out for the game afterwards. We saw it. For me, the best example is Jules Koundé in the World Cup final. As soon as Di Maria had a little quick 1-2s on him in that final, Koundé was gone for the entire game, for the full game. And I think that is something that we saw at least later down the road in this game. So that is something that we must point out. Koundé is a bit of an emotional player, but overall, I'm still backing this guy. I mean, he's one of the best in his position, so I really wouldn't have any problem with it, but it's a mistake, and he has to be held accountable for it. And at the end of the day, that's a mistake that cost Barcelona, so it has to be said. Another mistake for me is Casado. There was no reason for him really to pull that player in that situation, particularly when we are 2-0 up, and after that red card and the mistake from Koundé, we're just left open. And I think that red card also contributed to the mistake of Koundé, because you're a little bit less aware. You're going through the motions. You are having the players, switch up the positions, and you do not know where, the next ball is going to go. You're going to be a little bit more uneasy. You're not going to be finding yourself as comfortable as always in your position. So that is a place where Koundé, I think, also was open for that mistake. Koundé should have just really cleared it up. Koundé should really just hit it out, Hit it out, have no problem with it, not really test too much the waters, just clear the ball. Just clear the ball easily. I'm trying to find a video for you guys if we can. I think this is one of them. Let's see. So here we have, just clear the ball there. Clear the ball, and do not let Hugo Alvarez near it. Do not let Hugo Alvarez near it. Just completely kick it out and have no problem with it. There's no need to complicate yourself in that situation. So that's something that Koundé needs to keep in mind. So those two mistakes is certainly things that we have to isolate. And that's one of the reasons why I believe Barcelona lost this game. However, these mistakes is something that we've been seeing quite a lot. We saw it with Monaco as well. We've seen it plenty of times. And I think there are two more things that worries me a little bit. And it's that, one, this squad is still very young, and the mistakes of these youngsters, this lack of concentration. I mean, Casado now is going to learn from this, but he has to be consistent. Jules Koundé, overall, he's entering the peak sort of age of a player, which is okay, but he still is not a player that has been, cited for the best and biggest occasions. I do say the final against Argentina in Qatar, so that's a pretty big one. But I mean, he doesn't have the track record, of being just the most top player. And when you have players like this that are learning into the fold, where they're building this championship winning team, you need to go through the most. You need to go through these certain situations to learn from experience. And I think this game is going to be one of them for each and every single individual one of those players. But yet again, there are some players that simply do not deserve to be here, and one of them is Gerard Martin. I have absolutely no idea what the fuck is going on with this guy. I mean, we're talking about this lanky left back, which for me has the worst first touch I've ever seen in a while. He looks like Lukaku out there. We have someone who's so hard, so rash going into tackles. He looks like Lisandro Martinez, but with absolutely no quality in recovering the ball. And on top of that, we're seeing someone that makes bad decisions. He had a yellow card, and then he should have been sent off. Like, he really should have been sent off. Barcelona should be down in this game with 8 men. And Gerard Martin should have been a very big culprit for us losing. I don't know how the hell he got away with it. I don't know what Hansi Flick sees in him, but this guy is a no-no for me. He really is a no-no. So much that he even got substituted, half time. That tells you everything that you need to know. It's not that he was, terrible or whatever. He was terrible. He wasn't. You have to be terrible to be substituted in halftime. So people are gonna be, having a little bit of a laugh around him, saying that yes, let's back him or whatever. But dude, no, I've seen enough, and enough is enough. So get him out of my squad. I do not really want to see him. So that's one thing. And this point actually segues very nicely to what I want to mention, and that's this image right here. Hansi Flick, Celta Vigo, what is wrong? I think this is a one-way philosophy sort of thing, where you are very, very stubborn with your way of playing. And that is not wrong. Hansi Flick is there and not me for whatever, for a reason. He's not there because he got lucky. He's there because he's a very good manager. But I think that we're seeing sometimes in a game like this where, for instance, why are you just being so stubborn on Gerard Martin? I mean, maybe we have other players, but Hector Fort is there. Just play him there. Play him there. If you think Gerard Martin is not the best, have somebody in there to have that possibility to compete against him. It's not like you have to play Gerard Martin week in, week out. You don't. If Alejandro Valdés is not fit, you don't have to play him. There are other options out there. Look for them. You don't have to be stubborn with it. Then one thing for me is the substitutions. The substitutions that were actually Pedri out, Gavi out for De Jong and Fermín López. Then we had the next substitutions, Pablo Torre and Pau Victor. I mean, Barcelona doesn't have that much on the bench either. We had Balde, we had Sergio Dominguez, we have Noah Darvic, Guillermo Fernandez, which are players that can hold on the ball a little bit more. If you really wanted to, sustain this team and make an impact maybe after the substitutions, I think what he did was okay, but you do not bring in Pablo Torre and Pau Victor to hold on to a lead. And that's the thing where I think that he was trying to win the game, which is okay in a way, right? But at this stage, what you need to first to do before trying to win the game, which I understand is very few minutes left, for me, in my opinion, I would have tried to be a little bit more pragmatic. Try to be a little bit more cautious with the way that I was doing, because what's worse than losing and getting equalized? Like it says there, Barca get a red card and then give up 2 goals. What's worse than giving 2 goals to blow our lead in 4 minutes? What's worse than that? Losing. Losing is worse than that. So you first need to watch out for those points. And now basically Barcelona are just very close now to Real Madrid. They actually want to see the table at the moment, because I haven't seen the table at this stage. Real Madrid still has 2 games to play. You'll see on screen right now. So if Real Madrid win their next game 30 points, the next one they're only 1 point behind us. And they've had a horrible season. Or that's so what people say. And Barcelona are having a tremendous year, and they're only 1 point above. So we need to be more careful with our margins. And I think we've completely blow a lead. We have blew our lead in La Liga. That's honestly what I'm seeing. And we just have to be more careful with that. I think that's we need to start looking at games with a bit more responsibility when trying to close them off. I think that a winning team knows how to close them off, knows how to shut itself up. And Bayern Munich with Hansi Flick, I think the only criticism is that they conceded a lot of goals as well. And I know they had a one-way leg affair in the Champions League, so that maybe that saved them, and they didn't find other teams finding them back in the second leg. That's one thing. And then also the lack of competition and quality that they have in the Bundesliga. I think that's a fair criticism. And now that Hansi Flick is trying to employ this in a league with more quality or better tacticians, because I think the Spanish league, with the players that they have, maybe less qualified, they're certainly more talented and certainly know how to play better as a team, in my opinion. That's why overall Spanish teams in Europe are always doing very well. I think that's a very good evidence of that. So maybe Hansi Flick is finding that I have to do some certain things differently. And that one-way philosophy, let's see how much can actually get him to a trophy. That's where I want to be a little more cautious and learn with it, because I'm not sure so far that if we continue like this, it can be sustainable. I want a team, a winning team, that it's amazing, but it's sustainable. So that's going to be my analysis of this game. And just as a bonus, Frankie de Jong, look, I want to name a dog after you, but please, you have to play better than this. You really have to play better than this. I know that Casado being out completely demolished the team and gave you way more responsibilities, but come on, dude. I mean, I really want you to be el padrino de mi perro, así que you need to do better than that. So guys, that's going to be it. I'm going to be seeing you for the Champions League. Hopefully I want to do more videos. I always say this, but I'm learning, you know, I'm trying. If you enjoyed this video, remember to drop a like and subscribe, and let me know in the comment box down below what you think about it's going wrong with Barcelona in these two games. I certainly want to learn from it, and I want to discuss. I always read your comments. I mean, even if I don't respond, I always read them. I promise I always read them. In the bus, in the lift, in the bathroom. I don't care. I'm taking a shit. I always read them. So I'm there always. See you next one. Take care. Ciao, ciao.